Start from Kuf Samachay 165. Pashut Shekasa Bayed Echad. See, there's like 2 dots there, brackets. We thank Hashem that they're able to learn Torah every day. We're supposed to be learning, we should have the basic English. Learning the Mishmas, Savagol the Masperch Binaman, and some Ben Sian, and also for Shleima, for Avram David Ben Sarah, and Gedali Gatzalias Ben Pegit my father, Ben Miriam Ava. Okay, so the Gemara says like this: Pashat Shekasa Bayed Echad. We quote the Mishnah. The Mishnah says that if there was a regular document that had one witness in it, it's puzzle. If there's a makusher document, that fancy document that's tied, if it has 2 witnesses in it, it's also puzzle. In other words, that regular document needs 2 witnesses, and a makusher document needs 3 witnesses. So if it's missing 1 witness from each, it's puzzle. The Gemara asks like this: Bishleim makusher shekasa beishnei yedim puzzle. I get why you're telling me that a makusher document that has only 2 witnesses is puzzle. It's necessary. I could have thought a regular document is allowed to have 2 witnesses. So this also has 2 witnesses. So that's good. I could have thought that this document would be good. So kamashma on the puzzle, that's the chiddush that tells me that no, it really needs to have 3 witnesses, and as 2 witnesses, it's going to be puzzle. Okay. But if there's a simple document, a regular document that has 1 witness, pshita, of course it's possible. They only have 1 witness. They need to have 2 witnesses. The Gemara is asking that why does the Mishnah need to tell me that a document with 1 witness is possible? Yeah, thank you. Bishleim, it needs to tell me a document with 2 witnesses is possible. It's a chiddush. We're talking about the makusha document is possible, but 1 witness, of course, it's possible. Amar Abaya, Abaya answers this question, and he says, "No, by the simple document, it's telling me a chiddush. Chiddush is that even though I have a 2nd witness, just happens to be he didn't sign in it, but he's testifying orally. He's testifying to what it says in the document. So therefore, now I really have 2 witnesses. I have 1 in the document, and I have one that's orally testifying. So the combination of the 2, that should be kosher. The Mishnah says it's not kosher. Now the question is, how not kosher is that? What does it mean it's not kosher? I have a witness saying that well, basically what it's going to leave me with is it's going to leave me with what's called a milval peh, a loan that's not in the document. And it's all those sophisticated things that you can do with the document. You can extract land from a purchaser, after that land's been sold. Those types of things that you're not going to be able to do with this document that only has 1 signature. And the other thing is that there was a claim. A person can never say, "I paid it up. I paid the debt," if the document is there. So why does he have the document if he paid it? Why don't you take the document back? You can't say parati, I paid it up. But over here, he can claim parati to this document. He can say, well, why don't you take the document? He says that wasn't even a document. That didn't even have 2 signatures. So the guy can't block his claim parati, saying, so why do I have the document? Because that document is worthless. Yeah, that's another discussion. But Hillel's bringing up the discussion of the receipts. But ignoring that discussion, this document would not have the power of a regular document on those 2 levels, on the lekuchas level to extract from sold property, and on the level to be able to say that parati, I say that I paid it. Okay. Ameimar Amar. Ameimar says that you can use 1 witness in the document, and you can use one witness that's orally. So you can have these two witnesses like that. And interesting, he would allow you to extract from a purchaser because of that loan. It's interesting. Amalei Ravashi la Meimar. Ravashi says to me, what are you going to do with Abaya? Ravashi and Meimar are much later than Abaya. Abaya is like a third, fourth generation. They're like fifth, sixth generation. So Amalei, I don't hold of that. I hold that this is a valid document. If you have one signature in the document plus one witness that's testifying orally about this, that's going to work. Elakasha Masnisin, what are you going to do with the Mishnah? Abaya was compelled to say that because the Mishnah, we had a question on the Mishnah, why do I need to say that a document with one witness is possible? Abaya came to tell me the Chiddush, that it's a document with one witness plus another witness. That's orally. It's still possible. But what are you going to do? You say that it's kosher. So what are you going to tell me about the Mishnah? That just one witness is possible? That's what you're telling me when you don't have a second witness? Well, I don't need a Mishnah to teach me that. That's obvious. It says Hakamash Malan, on top of Kuf Samech Hayim at base. Hakamash Malan is coming to teach me the Shnayim b'Mekusher Keidechad b'Pashat. An interesting thing. It's coming to tell me that two witnesses on a tied document, which is supposed to have three witnesses, has the same status as one witness on a simple document. Just like a one witness on a document is biblically invalid, it's invalid on a biblical level, so two witnesses on a Makusha document, they made it biblically invalid. Now, what does it mean? I mean, the whole concept is not biblical. But it means is that if it would be a get, then the woman would not be divorced on a biblical level. It means you really have to redo it. It's totally invalid. It's not like sometimes you can say, well, she's already divorced and she got married again. And we don't make them get separated because that divorce was acceptable. But we don't do that. We say that it's really nothing.
I don't recall, did we learn the reason that the sages made the get Makusha require 3 rather than 2?
I don't know if we have explanations for all of these things. I think we just had that one general concept that they try to make it more complicated so the Kohanim don't get divorced when they do. And in that we had so you do this different, you do that different. All of people just so that the person writing the get says, what do I do next? And it takes more time. Yeah. Here they have two witnesses. They have two witnesses, and we're saying that it's nothing because it wasn't done correctly. On top of up here. Yeah, verbally, orally, 2 witnesses is like 100, but here it's on a document that needs 3 witnesses. I'm giving an example. 3 witnesses of a bezdin. The bezdin is supposed to have 3 signatures. They only have 2. It's going to come up soon, but you follow? When you need 3.
Yeah. Certain documents need 3 and certain need 2.
Yeah, the tie document needs 3 witnesses.
And it could be 2 signatures and 1 witness.
No, it's 3 witnesses. Teda. The Teda that we have now is proving that it's, according to Ameimar, 1 witness on the document plus 1 witness orally is going to be acceptable. He's going to prove this. Now we get into some Talmudic history here. It says, the Shalchu Misam Chavraya l'Reb Yirmiyah. The sages sent to Rabbi Yirmiyah the following. Now, they sent to Rabbi Yirmiyah, actually says they sent from there to Rabbi Yirmiyah, which means that the sages were in Eretz Yisrael. And Rabbi Yirmiyah, after being expelled from the yeshiva 100-something pages ago, when they asked the question, remember where he was expelled? Like 23 or something. The fifth phase was expelled. Yeah. By the birdhouse. It says, well, 23b. Yeah, 23b. The Gemara says, Valdaf Gula Rabbi Yirmiyah Mibei Midrasha. Because of this, Rabbi Yirmiyah was expelled from the Beis Medrash. He asked the question about if you're allowed to take a bird that's 50 feet from the birdhouse, is it considered poaching on someone's livestock, you know? So it said, let's say it's 1 foot in the 50 amos, 1 foot out of the 50 amos. Would that be acceptable? So they sent him out of the Beis Medrash. Apparently, according to this, he went to Bavel when he left. Anyway, they sent him a question. It was the following question. It says, exactly the case of Amema. If I have one witness in the document and I have one witness that's orally, would that be enough of a document to be able to extract land from a purchaser? Someone purchased property from the borrower. The creditor comes in and says, you purchased land with a lien on it. Now that lien would only be a lien if there was if the promissory note had 2 witnesses on it. And here it only has 1 witness. But Amemar said that it's acceptable, that it's considered 2 witnesses because we have 1 witness that's orally. So they combine to be 2 witnesses. And so they asked Rabbi Yirmiyah this question, does it combine? It says, Aliba de Tanakama de Rabbi Shua ben Karchalei Tibailach. Okay, I got to explain this. There's this machlekes in Sanhedrin.
Oral witness counts as 2 because you need 2 people to witness that oral statement.
No, what's happening is I have 1 witness in the document. I have another witness that's coming along, signed, signature. Another witness that's coming along and saying that event took place.
But when he says that,
so now I have 1 witness in the signature.
You need 2 other people to hear that.
No, but he's telling it to the Bezdin. He's coming to the Bezdin.
Wow.
So in the Bezdin, I have 2 witnesses now. I have 1 that's in the document and I have 1 that's standing there. So the combination of them makes it like a real contract. That's a real document. No, it's not Makusha. No, that's just an irregular document on a promissory note. Well, let's go into this machlekes here. Yeah, maybe. Hillel is asking what would be according to Meimar in a Makusha document if you have 2 and 1. That's an interesting question. Does anyone bring that up? Does the notes bring that up?
It says over here, it says, do we review the situation as if 2 witnesses were both signed for the document?
Yeah, but that's when we're talking about a regular document. Right. I don't know. That's a very good question. But you hear what Hill is asking? The Gemara is asking, what happens if I have an irregular document? Well, the background to this was that it says on a Makusha document, you need 3 witnesses. If only 2 signed, it's invalid. On a regular document, you need 2 witnesses. If only 1 signed, it's invalid. So the Gemara said, what's your chiddush? If 1 witness signed on a document, it's invalid. Of course, if on the first one, it's a chiddush because you have 2 witnesses and it's still invalid. Okay. But on the regular document, 1 witness says, of course it's invalid. So Abaye gave an answer. It's coming to tell me that even though I have another witness there orally, it's still invalid. So even though I have a combination of 2 witnesses, it's still invalid. But Ameimar says no. Ameimar says together with it, it's going to be valid. Those 2 witnesses combined as valid. So Hill is asking, what about on the Makusha document when you have 2 witnesses plus another one? Would Ameimar hold that that's valid? Abai, of course, would hold it's not, but Ameimar hold that it is. Or maybe maybe he would say no. Maybe he would say that that's the point of the makushers, to mess it up, to make the point of all these complications, to say that, oh, you didn't, you stapled the wrong corner.
It's an Hillel's question is especially a good question if the Makusha document is not involving a divorce specifically.
Right. Right. Would you be able to extract from?
Yeah.
Okay. So, what's the name of Hillel's new sefer?
Chokmeh
Chachmei Hillel.
Hillel.
Is a oral witness there's the different halachos for oral witness and
Because it's not actually one witness in halacha allows will make the person take an oath on a biblical level. If there's one witness there, then one witness testifies that you owe money. You say no, that you have to take an oath against that witness. That's what one witness. Here we're going to view it as an oath, probably as that at that level that you're going to be required to take an oath, but not like the document. Sorry, that's the first Mishnah there. I'm sure,
But the Beis Din would normally still listen to one witnesses. It's just that his testimony is not, categorically prove something. But it's good background information like anything else.
Right. Unless there was a concept of Lashon Hara. If you can't do anything with that testimony, then why are you telling it?
Yeah.
Okay, so now it says, okay, we have to discuss this. There's a machlekes over here. There's two machlekes in. It's the Rabbanan that argue on Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha, and you have the Rabbanan that argue on Reb Nassan. The argument on Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha was that the Rabbanan hold that the witnesses need to view the event at the same time. Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha says no, they don't have to view the event at the same time. They could have viewed the event at different times, and they can still be combined as one witness, as one pair of witnesses, even though they didn't see the event at the exact same moment. This guy saw the beginning of it, this guy saw the end of it. Then there's another machlekes about testifying in court, where the Rabbanan say that they have to testify, they have to walk in together. And Reb Nassan says that they can walk in a day after each other. Let the best and listen to this one today, this one tomorrow. You don't have to be, and that will be considered a pair of witnesses. Well, now we're saying like this. If I have witnesses where one is in a document and one is orally, right? So, according to the Tanakhama, the Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha, you can't even combine, according to the Rabbanan, two witnesses in the document and two al peh, and two orally. I think what it means is maybe that what's have to do with the Rabbanan of Yeshua? That's talking about if they witnessed it together. Maybe it's talking about, I don't have the comment. Maybe it's talking about where he admitted that he owes the money to the witnesses, but it doesn't mean that they witnessed the event. Let me just see how they do this. 6. Oh no. One witness testifies that he saw Reuven lend Shimon a mana on Sunday. The second witness testifies that he saw him lend Shimon a mana on Monday. The Tanakhama maintains that since we have only one witness to each event, there's insufficient evidence to establish Shimon's obligation. Rabbi ben Karcha, on the other hand, maintains that since both witnesses testify, okay, that's a different story. The Rishonim note that the Gemara's comparison of our case to that of the dispute in Tanakhama and Rabbi ben Karcha presents an obvious difficulty. In the case of the Tanakhama and Rabbi ben Karcha, the two witnesses testify about two different loans. But in our case, the witness in writing and the oral witness testified to the same loan. How then can the Gemara state that according to the Tanakhama, it's obvious that the two testimonies cannot unite? Yeah, so that's the question. That's Taisvus answers this question with a penetrating insight. The law is that witnesses who sign a debt document are not required to actually see the loan take place. Rather, if the borrower so requests, they may sign even if the lender is not present. So the borrower will have the document handy when he later meets the lender and takes the loan from him. The witnesses may not, however, sign a document for the lender without the borrower's express command. So they can sign it for the borrower, not from. Accordingly, when the lender later produces the document, it proves the existence of the obligation. We cannot possibly be in possession of the document without the borrower having handed it. It emerges from the above that witnesses on the document do not testify to the loan at all, but in effect to the transfer of the document from the borrower to the lender. Our Gemara's comparison of the case of one written witness and one oral witness to the Tanaic dispute is thus clear. For in our case as well, the two witnesses do not testify to the same occurrence. The oral witness testifies to having seen the loan, while the written witness testifies to the transfer of the document. Without this Taisvus, I was going to guess that one witness witnessed the one on the document witnessed the loan. The oral witness was just testifying that the borrower admitted to it. But that's not the way Taisvus is saying.
Does it say that? Does it say that the witnesses saw the signing and the delivery of the document?
No.
Just
It says that he borrowed. Yeah. But the significance of that witness on the borrowing is only because the document was transferred to the lender.
On the get, do you need two sets of witnesses?
On
One
the
for
get?
the get and one for the Masorah?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
You could use the same ones, but
Can be the same. Did they sign it twice or just once?
they sign the get once, and then there's a separate document that say that they witnessed the
handing over.
the get.
But is that the only case in which we need 80 Masorah?
I think so.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Although what's happening now is what Taisvus is bringing up is that that's part of every loan, is that the transfer of the document. It's interesting. Okay, so according to the Rabbanan of Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha, there's obviously no question that they don't combine, because they say that nothing combines. But maybe according to Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha, he was more lenient about this. He says that it does combine. He said that those two loans couldn't turn into one loan. But what's going to be Shnayim B'Ksav or Shnayim Al Peh? If I have two witnesses in the document and two witnesses orally, that would combine. But maybe one witness each doesn't combine. You see what was happening there? It's throwing in this two witnesses. Oh, but there was also one witness each. One witness witnessed alone yesterday, another witness alone today, and Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha accepted that. But maybe Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha would not accept one b'ksav and one al peh. Maybe he only accepts either both al peh or both b'ksav. So maybe there's no difference. This was a Meimar. What we're holding right now is a Meimar's response to Rav Ashi. Rav Ashi said, "What about the Mishnah?" So he says, "I don't hold of Abaya. I have a different answer for the Mishnah, and I'll prove it to you that I'm right." Now we're in the middle of that proof. This is a Meimar still talking. So because they asked Rabbi Yirmiyah this question, and so maybe there's no problem. So Shalach Lahu, Rabbi Yirmiyah responded, I'm not worthy that you should ask me this question. But the mind of your student is leaning towards that it should work and it should combine, according to Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha. Well, Rabbi Yirmiyah gave an answer that it does combine, and which it fits perfectly with Ameimar. So Ameimar's proof. Yeah? You follow? Amalei, so Ravashi responds, Anan Hachimasninana. That's the way the way you heard it is a proof to you, but that's not the way we heard that question. We heard the question differently. We heard that the Shalchule Chavrayel Rabbi Yirmiyah, they asked Rabbi Yirmiyah a different question. There's two people testified. One person testified in one court, another person testified in another court. Bezdin Eitzel Bezdin v'yitztarfu. Can the Bezdin join together to discuss this case as its two witnesses? Now, Aliba the Tanakama de Rab Nassan Leitibala. Rab Nassan said that one witness can come today and another witness can come tomorrow. The Rabbanan said no, that both witnesses have to testify together. Well, here they didn't both testify together; they actually testified in different Bezdin. So for sure, it's not going to work. Even if it would be one court, it wouldn't work. Where's our question? They're asking Rabbi Yirmiyah. According to Rab Nassan, if there would be two witnesses and they would come to the Bezdin, and they come to one Bezdin, but at different times, that's Rab Nassan says it's acceptable. But if they come to two separate courts, that won't count. Or maybe there's no difference. No, it's making noises. You hear it? Okay, there you go. So it was talking. Separate courts. So maybe there's no difference in the different courts. Rabbi Yirmiyah responded, I'm not worthy that you should ask me the question. But the student's opinion is leaning that it should combine and it should work. Marbar Chia Amar. Okay. He says, that the question they asked Rabbi Yirmiyah was different. There's actually have two witnesses. They went to two different courts. They testified in one court, then they went to testify in another court. They're really trying to get the guy into trouble. And then to judge the case, can we have one judge from this Bezdin and one judge from this Bezdin? I assume there's another, maybe they went to a third court, and then another judge from the third court would come. According to Rab Nassan, it's not a problem. See, what they want to do is they want to join these judges together to judge the case of testimonies of the witnesses. But if witnesses are allowed to separate and come separately, so then for sure the judges can judge separately, not separately, separate. They heard the testimony in separate courts, and now they're going to join together to judge, which that for sure would work. So you could have
like, I guess in a disagreement, can you have like multiple? You could have multiple prosecutors. At the end of the day, they pick one, and then everyone would join behind that prosecution.
Yeah, once the case is judged, you're not going to judge it again in another case. It was in another court. It was already Paskima. But the question is, can a judge from this court and a judge from this court combine and judge the case of the testimonies that they heard in separate courts?
You could just say, we could just refer some parties to the other courts.
Be interesting when things get appealed. If you can take if judges from the original case can now step in and participate in the new case when they appeal the case. Because they heard the original case.
Yeah, but they disagree with the book, so that's why it's
I don't know how the appeals work. But, there is a concept of appeal in Jewish law. You can go to a Bezdin Agadol. There is a concept of appeal. Yeah, I'm asking if the judge from the original case can step in and participate with the appeals case and to participate in it.
Rabbi?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, I thought it says somewhere that a judge is not allowed to base their opinion on hearing another judge's opinion. So
Yeah,
that
we're
would,
not saying that. We're not doing that. We're not hearing another judge's opinion. This case was tried in several courts. The witnesses came to the first court, and then they left and they went to another court and they tried it. And then they went to a third court. And now we're taking one judge from each of them, and they're going to join together and they're going to make a ruling on the case where they heard the testimony separately. The same testimony, but they heard it separately.
Oh, man, that's complicated. All right, that's beyond my pay grade. Goodbye.
So over here, it's each one was a new trial. They just never paskin on it. So this is a question that they're asking Rabbi Yirmiyah, and Rabbi Yirmiyah is saying, well, according to Reb Nosson, for sure it's no problem. Problem is, according to the Tanakama, maybe the Tanakama edim hudleim etzarfinan. If this would be witnesses, there's a Gemara down over there, those blue ones. If it would be witnesses, we wouldn't combine them, witnesses, to come in separately like that. Aval dayane mitzarfinan. But maybe even according to the Tanakama, we would join the judges. Maybe there's no difference, witnesses. We're on Kuf Samachayim Abiz. So Shalach Lahu, Rabbi Yirmiyah responded, I'm not worthy of this question that you're asking me the question. But your student, he's calling himself, your student, his leaning towards Shiyad Starfu, that it should combine, that it should work. Ravina Amar Hachi Shalchale. Ravina says, no, the question they asked Rabbi Yirmiyah was something else. 3 people that sat to validate, to notarize a document. But one of the judges died. Do they have to write when they're signing? Normally there would be 3 signatures there. Now they said, the way what happens is they say, we sat together with 3 people. And 2 witnesses came in front of us and testified that this is their signature. That's what it says. And then here's our signature. And then they sign underneath. But over here, one of the judges just died. So do they have to write that we sat as 3 and one of us died, and this is what we're signing to? It comes out like it's a different sort of document. It's more like a testimony document that this was. It comes out a little different. So do they have to write that? So I think my father told me that there was a case. One of the jury died. I think that was the case. One of the jury, something like that. And there was a question like how to finish that case. Like what do you do? Do you finish with less? Yeah, because this came up because we had a case in the Bezdin where one of the Dayanim had to remove himself from the case because there was some legal issue that he couldn't be involved. He would have to, because he was he would have to inform the authorities because of his position and whatever. He was going to. It wasn't because of his self-interest. He was just going to have to inform. He said, "I can't be involved in this." So we ended up with 2 judges. Two judges. It was very complicated. There's a discussion in Shulchan Aruch about this. I think it's in the past. But
isn't the acceptance of that possibility part of the arbitration agreement that people signed today?
I don't think so. I don't think it was in there. We met afterwards to discuss. This was very common. Actually wrote one of the Dayanim wrote a letter to Rabbanim in Eretz Yisrael, discussing this. Anyway, so
Rabbi Shelka told me he used to have people sign a document. The problem being that he and his brother-in-law were both on the Beis Din.
Mm-hmm.
They had to get permission in advance. So part of their standard, huh?
Who was his brother-in-law?
I'm not sure if it's right, but I recall perhaps Minsky.
Okay. So they would have to get permission from the people that they should accept. I mean, the people can accept any judges. The Gemara says, right? They can say, we trust these arbitrators, even 3 shepherds.
Right.
If that's what you want to decide. Right. A lot of times the students, they argue. So let's go ask so-and-so, whatever he says. It's not a judge. They ask one of the other guys. Okay. Shalach lahu, he responded, I'm not worthy that you should ask me this question. But the opinion, the leanings of your student is leaning towards that we sat this three and one of us is not here. This is the historic Gemara. Because of this, Rabbi Yirmiyah was let back into the Beis Medrash. After he was expelled, they let him back in after the way he responded to this question. I'm not sure if it's because he got the answer right, or if it's because he said, Eini Kedai, I'm not worthy, or Das Talmid Chemnaita, your student. I'm not sure exactly what exactly it was, but they let him back in afterwards. Yeah? You have any comment there?
After it was related earlier in chapter 23.
That's all they say. Yeah, that's the when they kicked him out. 23b. Because he said you're a disciple? Who says that? Rashbam? Rashbam says because he's a disciple?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't see that. I don't see that in the Rashbam. I got it. Just says because he answered correctly. It doesn't say because of the disciple. Where is? Oh, the respectful tone of Yirmiyah's reply. His reference as your disciple, and his expression of inadequacy at answering the question indicated that he was not impertinent, as his earlier question indicated. Therefore, the sage allowed him to return. Okay, now, yeah, the Rashbam doesn't say that, but it just says Shehei Shavlam Kahaygan. He responded correctly or properly. Now, what exactly was properly or correctly? They're making an assumption that it's because he said Talmid Chemer. That's which I'm fine with. But it just doesn't. It's an assumption. It's not. Okay. No, but that's just, I have that window here. I have the Rashbam here, but it's just Shehei Shavlam Kahaygan responded correctly, properly. Responded properly. Maybe Kahaygan. That's what it means. Kahaygan doesn't just mean correctly. Kahaygan means properly. Because it's properly, it meant that his tone was proper. That's what it means. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Just this also brought back another memory. Rabbi Shoka told me also once he was on a base in a 3, and he simply could not agree with the other two, no matter how long they discussed it. And ultimately, he decided it would be best for him to drop out rather than be the one in minority. And he said, but it wasn't a problem because that left 2, and the agreement said 2 could decide.
Oh well, so they had it filled in that.
Yeah. He made it sound like that was a normal thing, but
maybe in his document, maybe that's a different document. Kasav by, if a new Mishnah, if it was written in a document, Zuzin Meya Di'inan Slain Esrin, 100 zuz, 100 dinar, which is 20 sela. Now that's not true. It's 25 sela because every 4 dinar or every 4 zuz is 1 sela. So if you have 100 zuz, then you have 25 sela. But in this document, it said 100 zuz, which is 20 sela. So now he wants to collect the money. He wants to collect, of course, the 100 zuz, but he can't. He can only collect 20 sela. What we're gonna do is we're gonna say that you meant 20 zuz that were probably worn down, and therefore they're only worth 20 sela. That's the type of zuz they had that had a lower value. Zuz in Meya, Dinan Tlasin, so let's say it's the opposite. 100 zuz, which is 30 sela, which is not true. It's really only 25. Ein Layalamana, he can only get those 100 zuz. He can't get he's always going to collect the lower amount. Kesef Zuzin Dinon. Money, silver money, which is, instead, it didn't say the number. Usually it says Kesef Zuzi, like Maya or something, right? 100. But it didn't have any number. It just says money. Benimchak. And then it's erased. Ein Pachas Mishnayim. Well, we know it's at least 2 because it says monies, right? Is that how you say monies? Is that do you say plural? Monies? I think I've seen in official documents monies. Yeah. We don't say it. But...
Fish.
Fish. Right. Okay. Kesef Silin de Inon Venimchak. Let's see, it says coin, Sela is a larger coin. These larger coins, and it doesn't say how much. In Pachas then it's going to be 2, at least 2. Darkoines Inon Venimchak. It says a dark coin. I think that's a smaller coin.
Gold coin.
Oh, dark coin is a gold coin.
Yeah, it says dark coin is a gold coin.
What is its value? Okay.
Oh, it was valued as 2 slime.
2 slime. Okay, so that's a double a gold coin. And then it's erased how many? Ein Pachas Mishnayim, it has to be at least 2. Because by Malmaila Mana Malmata Masayim. Let's say in the document, we're not talking about the bottom line of the document, because the bottom line of the document can't teach me anything. But in the document itself, sometimes things are repeated. So the upper part of the document said that he lent 100, and on the bottom it said he lent 200. Or the opposite, Malmaila Masayim Malmata Mana. On the top it said 200, on the bottom it said 100. And everything follows the bottom of the document. So why do you write the top? Yeah. That if a letter is missing from the bottom, I may need the top to fill in that letter to one little piece of information. I can clarify things from the top of the document. So we write the top, but really it doesn't affect anything. It's just paperwork. The bottom is what the bottom of the document is the main thing. Now it's not the bottom line. The bottom line is not, but it's the second half of the document. Right. I was like, Dad, can I have $50? $40? What are you gonna do with $30? Right? Oh, the letters, not the is that true, Reb Naftali? In the bank, the check, they go after the written part of the check, not the numbers.
In theory, yes.
If there's a discrepancy.
In theory, the written part controls. But we all know of cases where there are problems where people add a 0. I mean, it happens in the frum community, unfortunately, where people change the numbers and the bank doesn't pay any attention to what's written.
What?
Oh.
So I'm $1 million. Okay. See you guys later.
I mean, it gives you a claim against the bank, but good luck with that one.
Right. Okay. Okay, that's interesting. Taner Rabbanu was taught in a brisa. It says kesef in pachas medina kesef. Obviously, when it says silver, it's referring to the silver coin, a dinar. Kesef dinarim. If it says silver dinarim, the dinarim kesef and dinarim of kesef, in pachas mishnei dinarim kesef, then it's referring to the dinar kesef. So 2 of them, because it says plural. Kesef bidinarim. Now, silver in dinarim. The dinarim is like the name of a coin. Silver in quarters. Silver in quarters. Or just not quarter. I'm just picking a name of a coin.
How is the person? Yes, it's Talvela.
Kesef Talvasami.
So is that also? In other words, if you learn less than that,
No, maybe a pruta, but I think
That's
the
what I
kesef.
thought. That's
Kesef
what I-
is an interesting discussion if kesef means silver or if it means money. Interesting discussion. The Nesivas at the beginning. Okay, so kesef bedinarim. In pachas mi b'shnei dinrin dav. Kesef. How do they translate this? It's no less than 2 dinarim of gold in silver. In other words, he's lent him, or he owes him, 2 golden dinar, the value of 2 golden dinarim, but he has to pay it in silver. But he got it in silver. So yeah, the Gemara is going to adjust this, that it's not kesef bidinarim, it's going to be kesef bidinre. You'll see on the next page. Amar Mar, master taught kesef. When it says silver, ein pachas medina kesef, it means no less than a dinar of silver. Maybe it means a bar of silver. Amar Abelazar, the kesef by matbea, no, it says a coin. Priti, he said a coin. Maybe it means this penny. Right. No less. No, you're in the wrong place. You jumped ahead of me.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm before that. That's another one. So he said maybe it's Priti. Amar of Papa, you go. Yeah, okay. Amar of Papa says, "Ba'asrad le'sagi Priti de kaspa." Now we're talking about where they don't. This is a place where they don't make silver pennies. They make pennies out of copper. Right? Now, what's the literal translation? Sagi usually means it's enough. The le'sagi means not enough. What does circulate? Well, sagi means circulate. What is it? Sagi.
What's Saginar?
Sagi means very, enough, or very. Saginar means a lot of light. It's a sarcastic. Someone blind.
So it's not a lot of
Sagi Priti.
It's rare.
Okay. Okay. If you do Safari on the phone, so you hold the word down and the dictionary opens up. Push on that word and see. It doesn't work on my computer, but on my phone I can hold the word down and the references will open up.
So like in regions where they sort of like gold or silver, that currency, because it was tied to that material, but just finishing value.
Well, here what we're saying is he didn't say exactly which coin he's referring to.
Yeah.
So you just said, it said 2 coins. So which one is which coin? So we're saying, coin must mean dinarim. Well, it means pennies. I said no, because he said silver, so they don't make silver pennies. So. Okay.
If one of these 2 guys show up to the sheriff day and they say to the girl, "You want to go out for dinner?" Did they just marry her?
Yeah.
I'm ready to say I give up, but Dr. Stein said they Naftali. He takes a girl out for a shidduch. He says, "Do you want to go out for dinner?" Did he just marry her with the dinner?
He said 2 guys.
These 2 guys, they're
Oh,
going.
he's talking about this.
It's not book material.
Okay.
It's
It's not book material.
What,
Okay.
you rate the book PG now?
They have to say silver dinar or
You want to go for a silver dinner?
or a
Silver
gold
dinner? Okay. So, fleshik dinner. Tanur Rabbanan. It was started in a Brisa Dahab. If he says gold, ein pachas medina dav, obviously it means a golden dinar. Dav dinarim. If it says gold dinarim or dinarim dahav or dinarim of gold, ein pachas mishnei dinarim dav, then it has to be 2 because he said plural. What about if he says dahav bidinarim? He does that funny thing. He says gold in coins. In pachas mishnei dinarim kesef dahav. What he meant over there is that he means I'm giving you gold, but the value of 2 silver dinarim, because it was a golden dinar and a silver dinar, very different in price. But he says gold in dinarim. That means of of the value of silver dinar, gold in the value of this 2 silver dinar. Amar Mar, the master taught.
Right here, says it's no less than 2 silver dinars worth of gold.
Yeah,
Not worth
gold.
of silver.
Gold, the value of 2 silver dinar.
2 silver dinars worth of gold.
Yeah.
Sounds like
2 silver dinars worth of gold. That means the silver dinar value being given in gold.
oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's gonna, you're getting something yellow, but its weight would be opposite 2 silver dinar, right? Amar Mar, the master taught.
Those are like payable in pounds, but dollars were in dollars.
Right.
You have different currencies. I want that currency, but it has to be of that value. That's what he's saying.
Yeah, that's what happens.
International
Sometimes when I'm buying
transaction.
tickets for my son to Canada.
Mhm.
So sometimes the website puts me on Canadian dollars, sometimes puts me, then yeah, I can switch it, but then the whole thing's like restarts. So, but yeah, I'm paying dollars, and they're taking its value and whatever that number is in Canadian
If they
dollars.
switch it to the charge
I think
fee.
I think it's worth it for me to do it on the American side, not on the
Yeah, I
Canadian.
wonder,
Anyway, Amar Mar, Dahav, Impachs Medina, Dahav, Emanascha. But you're saying it's a golden coin, maybe it's a golden bar. Amar Rabbi Lazar, the same thing like we said before. Rabbi Lazar says the customer, it says a coin. Bema Priti, maybe it's a penny. It says Priti Dava Lay Avdi, and they don't make golden pennies. Now, from the difference in wording here, it probably Lay Sagi means it's not a lot. Means it's not, doesn't circulate. Over here they don't make it. Over there it meant that it doesn't circulate. The Jasper says Sagi means
A lot.
enough.
So it's hard to know which context it's using.
Uh-huh.
But it's saying, just for example, out of the 5 different ones, saying to swell, to rise, to grow, to spread, increase, to thrive.
Right. So it's spread. It's probably like it doesn't circulate. Okay. Zahav bidinarim. This was this complication before. Gold in coins. In pachas mishnei dinarim kesef tav. It's no less than 2 dinarim of silver worth of gold. Ve'ima da'ava pricha. Maybe it means golden pieces. What is pricha? Like fragments. Fragments. Betray dinari dava. Maybe golden fragments with the value of 2 golden coins, not silver coins. Kamar, maybe that's what it means. Amar Abaya says, well, yad balashtar al tachtan, you're always going to end up with the lesser amount because you're coming to extract money from someone. And unless you can prove that it's the higher amount, you're always going to get the lower amount. You can't, right? I think maybe you owe me more than this. So we'll prove it. Okay. Problem is now that now in our Gemara there's a parentheses which the Maseres Shas adjusted. It's supposed to say "Ihachi Reishanami." If that's the case, then why before did you say that you get the value in golden coin, the value of silver and gold, the value of 2 golden coins in silver? Why is he getting the higher amount? So skip the parentheses. Amar Ravashi. Ravashi says, Reisha, the cost of dinri, Seifa, the cost of dinarin. There's a difference between dinri and dinarin. How do you know there's a difference between those 2 words? That dinri is going to be gold and dinarim is going to be silver. The Tanya was taught in a brisa. There was a woman that wasn't sure if she gave birth 5 times. In other words, she wasn't sure. She had these miscarriages that were after a certain number of days, not sure exactly if they're considered fetuses or not. Well, she would have to bring a carbon for each one, but because there's a doubt on each of these, so she has to bring. Well, Ashim Tali is when you accidental sin. This is it's 2 birds, chatas and a oila that she brings. the oil gets burnt anyway, but the chatas is going to have to be burnt because they can't eat it if it's not sure if it was meant to be brought. Well, Sabach Ziva, so the same thing would be if she saw blood 3 times, but she doesn't know if it was during the Ziva days or the Nida days. If it's during the Ziva days, she has to bring a carbon. If it's during the Nida days, she doesn't. And her calculation is all messed up, so she doesn't know when it was. Maybe a carbon echad ba'echeles bizvachim. She brings one sacrifice, one set of sacrifices, and she can already eat from other sacrifices. In other words, she has to become purified. But in order to eat from a carbon, she has to bring her own carbon, which she does, but only 1, not 5. And the rest are not considered an obligation. The reason why is because we don't want her to bring carbon chatas that's not going to be eaten. Let's say she had definitely 5 births. Chamish zivas vadais, definitely 5 times ziva. Maybe a carbon echad beichals bezvachim ashar la'achayva. The rest is an obligation because that's going to be a regular sacrifice. So she's allowed to eat, but she still has an obligation to bring the rest. Eat from karbanos. Was a story where birds in Yerushalayim, the pair of birds cost, the price went up, and the pair of birds cost dinrei zahav, golden coins. Amar Rab Shimon ben Gamliel, Rab Shimon ben Gamliel says, like I promise by this base of Migdash, if I go to sleep before they go down to dinarim. See, dinrei was golden, dinarim means silver. Nichnas lebestin, he goes into the bestin, v'limed, and he teaches the following. He said she doesn't have to bring the rest. Follow? She doesn't have to bring the next karbanos. Oh, so then the demand went down. The demand went down for the birds from the kingdom by Bayam B'Revasayim, and it went down to a quarter of a dinar zahav, which is only 48 prutas. A dinar zahav would be 192 prutas, so a quarter of that would be 48. Okay. Because of yeah, no, well, the flour is less. Yeah, yeah. But the price went up, so he lowered the price. Yeah, we have this sometimes where the sages adjusted prices. Remember by the lulav, by the hadassim, they was raising the price, and he told them, if you don't lower the price, I'm gonna paskin that you don't need to have the 3 leaves coming out from the same thing. I'll paskin you, they can come out from different places, and then the people they'll lower their prices.
Yeah. Stages nowadays, which is basically, I mean, can we do something about the price of dates?
No, but they should do something with the price of strimals. If you don't, I'm gonna paskin that we're gonna wear casquettes unless you lower your prices. Casquette, you know those taxi cats. Yeah. And the shaitels, yeah. That's it. Tichels. Okay. Kasav Malmayla Chula. They do. I mean, they do have guidelines for weddings, for the no real flowers, no. Only on the women's right. Yeah. Kasav Malmayla, if it said something on top, but it said something different on the bottom. So Taner Rabbanon, so it said we follow the bottom. It says Yilmad Hatachten Min Elyon Baisachas Avalei B'Shteyosius. It says that we can get 1 letter off the top and correct the bottom, because the bottom is significant. But we can't get 2 letters off the top to adjust something. Going Chanan me Chanani. If it says Chanan, we can get the Yud and say that his name is Chanani. Imagine if the name was a little off and they come and collect from someone else because the name is off. It says the name was Chanani, and it only said Chanan. Or Vanan mi Anani. His name was Anan, Einan, and his name is really I'm sorry. Kamsa and Bar Kamsa, yeah. So the 2 letters you can't get. You can't turn it into Bar Kamsa. Why not? Why 2 letters not? Maybe there's going to be a word that has 4 letters, and you're going to get 2 letters from the top. That's half the word, half the name you're getting from the top, and that's not the significant part of the documents. That's too much. Says he what about if there's his name is 2 letters? His name is Don or God. So Ella stay oisius anytime. What's the reason? Dilma Mesrabi Shane Ben Shalish oisius Rabli Ruba Dishma. We're worried that there may be a name of 3 letters, and if you take 2 letters off the top, then it's not just that you got 1 letter, you got half the name, but you got the majority of the name. That's too much. You can't get the majority of the name. Amar Rav Papa says pshitali. It's obvious. Sefel Malmaila v'Kefel Malmata Hakolei Lechachar Kachal. That we're going to follow the bottom of the document if there's a contradiction. If it said Sefel on the top of the document, Sefel means a jug of some sort, container, and Kefel means folded, which probably means some sort of material. So the word is very similar, but he says he owes him Kefel on the bottom. It says we're going to follow the bottom because the bottom is the main part of the document. What if it said Kefel on the top and Sefel on the bottom? Is it possible that maybe the kuf on the bottom got erased, the lower part of the kuf, and I think the kuf maybe in the handwritten was attached on the top, like the samach. The samach comes around as a circle, right? Comes around as a circle. In the kuf, over there, that kuf is attached on the top. It goes lower. It looks like a samach, just it stretches down. That's a very good picture. Let me show that. In halacha, in Sefer Torah, if the kuf is attached, it's puzzle. But do you see that? So maybe is it possible a fly came by and scooped up some of the bottom of the ink? It landed on the ink and it left it without the ink. And really, it's supposed to be sefel, a jug, not kefel. And really, it's supposed to be kefel. Really, it's supposed to be kefel, but just it disappeared. And I look on the top, and I see that information, so I should adjust it. The Gemara says tekel.
Why is it about like kefel with a kuf? Why isn't it with a kuf like kaful?
Kafel means double, but
double is
but
when you
kefel to kipol begotten is folding garments. That's the Aramaic word. Yeah.
Because a kuf could easily look more like
yeah. Gemara says tekel. There was a document that said 600 and a coin. Well, Sholcha Rav Shravya Kamei Dabaya. So what is the 600 plus the zuz plus the coin? 600 what? Shismei astira v'zuzah, idoma shismei apriti v'zuzah. Is it 600 large coins plus a zuz, or is it 600 small coins, pennies plus a zuz? Amalei, he said, dal priti, it can't be pennies. Like kasri b'shtara, you don't write that in a document. Asuchi maskinlo, mashvil zuzah. Because when you have that amount of pennies, you join it together, and you don't write the big numbers. You're not going to write milligrams when you can already use kilograms, right? So you're going to join it together. You won't have to have large. The 600 pennies, right? You say $6. But here it would be $600, not 600 pennies. Because we would have written $6. Sorry?
So to a kid, you would say 600 pennies.
Oh, yeah.
When it comes to like larger measurements that have like a very tolerance very high, they would say like the whole small thing, because otherwise you figure out
Right.
like 50 yards,
Right.
this inches.
Right. So they put it in the larger denominator, which would make it the smaller, to get rid of as many zeros as possible. That's what they would do.
Yeah, but for vitamins, they do the opposite. They'll say,
Zero,
oh,
zero, zero.
the 2,500 milligrams. No, it's 2.5
Uh-huh. Is that what they do?
Yeah, make it sound like a lot. Just add the zeros.
We're
That's
in the
interesting.
Baruch HaChodesh. So, the day, the hour, the minutes.
You're saying, oh, which one you say first? Yeah, okay. Okay, that's what was it? 6 and 20 blackbirds baked in a pie. But that has to do with which number you say. You say which.
Lincoln's thing, 4 score and 4 years and 20, you know, he said first of years and score of years.
Uh-huh.
The score is
Right, but
Four
first you
score
put,
and
like,
20.
how does it go?
It's
Lincoln- Yeah, there was score and then there was years.
Anymore.
Okay. The Gemara says, "My Amit, what could it be? Shishmei astiri v'zuzah. That's the only option. Is 600 astiri, which are larger coins. Astiri. Yad balashtar al tachtaina, the hand of the one that has the document is supposed to have the lower. Let me see here, Gemara. Therefore, what can you say? The highest and lowest remaining possibilities are 600 astira in a dinar, 600 dinars in one more dinar. The guiding principle is that the holder of the document is a disadvantage. The lesser of these two values is assumed. Oh, so because my option is shishmei zuz v'chad zuzah, so it's going to be a zuz because of astira is larger than a zuz. Actually, there's two opinions here. One opinion says that astira is a half a zuz. Other opinion here is that astira is a sela. How does that? What does it say?
No, I'm reading.
You're sitting in the Rashba?
Yeah.
Okay, the Gemara. Let's go a little further because we have more time. But even though this is tomorrow's daf, Amar Abaya. Abaya says, "Haiman de boy lemechve chasimas yadi bebeidina loy lachve beseif megilta dimla mashkach lei achar because of the masik bezuzi because of the masik. If you need to show your signature to the court, now why would you want to show your signature to the court? Because two people signed on a document, you and someone else. The other person is not here to testify about his signature, but you're here to testify. So you're going to testify about your signature. Say, this is my signature. Plus, there's another witness that's going to come together with you, and you're going to testify about the other person's signature that you recognize it, and him. You and him recognize. Now, the problem is that 3/4 of this document are being based on you. You, 100% of your signature, which is 50% of the document, plus half of the other person's signature, which is another 1/4 of the document, which means 75% of this document is based on your testimony. Now you can't have that. You can only have up to 50% based on you can't be the majority of one person has the majority of this support of this document. We've had this before. So what does he do as a solution? He sends into the Beis Din a signature, his own signature. He signs again. The Beis Din knows his signature without his testimony because they have his signature. Then he comes together with the other guy and they testify about the other person's signature. So he has to get his signature into the Beis Din. So without testifying. So he signs his name on a paper and he gives it. Abaya says, don't sign on the bottom of the paper because we have a Mishnah that says, what's gonna if you sign on the bottom, it's gonna say, and you give it to the Beis Din, someone else may come along and say, I, the undersigned, have lent $100 to so and so. No, I'm sorry, it's the opposite. I, the undersigned, have borrowed $100 from so and so, and then he's got he puts his name in there. Now he has that witness. Basically, don't put your name on a paper on the bottom. Someone may use that, find the paper, and use it to write that he owes you, that you owe him.
Well, you're right, aren't they have to sign within 2 lines?
I know, but if you sign on the bottom, you can have that signature. They can write a paper on the top. No, this is a blank paper. He's just giving the Beis Din a blank paper with his signature. So Abaya is telling him, don't sign on the bottom, sign on the top. Who?
Like a blank check.
A blank check. It's like a blank check, yeah. Who Bazbina? there was this tax collector. Usually that's we use different words for it. I don't know exactly why we're using this word. Das Kami da Abaya comes to Abaya. Amalei nechsi leimar chasimas yadei the chiyasu rabbanan machvili ma'avarna lebelei mechsa. I would like to see your signature, Abaya, because I'm going to absolve the rabbis from their tax if you sign that each one of them is a student in your yeshiva. The only thing is I have to recognize your signature. So if they show me that you signed it, so please sign for me. Please sign. Hello, saying, don't do it, Abaya. He's saying, please, please sign for me, so I'll recognize your signature. I'll be able to compare when they show up. So Achvile Beresh Megilta, Abaya signing on the top. So Habi Kanagid Bey, the fellow is pulling the document towards the bottom. He's pulling it up, so the signature is going to be on the bottom. Amalei, Abaya says, Kvar Kadmach Rabbanan, the rabbis already preceded you. They know that trick. We only sign on the top. Okay.
Yankee Rajik told us a story yesterday about Bergen, where they were collecting the garbage in California. And they approached, I don't know them, approaches this very rich guy, and for donation, he said, no problem. He said, how much? He says, don't worry, just sign the check directly. Arrived in a few weeks, go on later, and the guy gets back. This was back in the 60s. Bank calls him because the check is in the amount of $4,000. So that would be equivalent of $50,000 today. So he's going nuts. What you do, this, that, the rep signed it, filled it in, this, that. So he calls, so I don't remember who he calls California. And they say, you know what? Something like, and look, I might be not telling totally correct, but like, check with Yankee. Don't mess with these Lubavitchers. It's not worth it. Just let the $4,000 go through. So he says, okay, I let the check go through, and then it turned out like several weeks later, a business deal that was not supposed to go through went through and get $40,000 in that. So like the monster.
Right.
It was a great story.
Omar Abaya says, Mitlas Vadesa Leilechta B'Seif Shita. Abaya says, don't write from the numbers 3 to 10 at the end of a line, because in Aramaic, if you add a yud nun, it turns into 30. 3. The yud nun would turn into 40. Arba'in, Kamshin, so like dry, Dreitzig, right? From 13 to 30. So so don't write any of those numbers at the end of a line. Dilma Messiah for Kosav. Maybe someone can fill it in and forge it. And if it happens to be at the end of a line, what are you going to do? Then throughout the document, you should rewrite it several times to make sure that that number is clear. From those 2 or 3 times that you rewrite the amount, it's one of them is going to be in middle of a line. He said he was giving us a piece of his garden. He's giving a piece of his garden, and the garden had an orchard. So he said a third of it in the orchard is going to be given to you. The fellow went and he erased the top of the bays and the bottom of the bays, which leaves just above. Bays like this. He erased the top, erased the bottom, and just left that line. So instead of a third in the orchard is being given to you, it now says a third and the orchard. That means a third of the garden plus the orchard, the whole orchard. It wasn't even supposed to get half. It was supposed to get a third of the orchard. Now he's getting the whole orchard. So Asalakami Dabai comes to Abai Amalei. My time a Ravach Lealma Lahai Vav. Why is there so much space around this Vav? It used to be a base. It used to be all letter. Now there's just one line. So Kafte Vaide, they forced him. They probably beat him, and he admitted that what he had done. Ahuda B'Kasav Minas Ruvain V'Shimon Ache. The portion of Ruvain and Shimon brothers. Now, Habale Acha Deshmei Achai. He had a brother. They had a brother that his name was Achai. He was saying that he was selling or giving the portion of Reuben and Shimon brothers. But then there was another brother whose name was Achai. So it says Achai, Achai would mean the brothers, but Achai was the guy's name, right? Azal Kasav Vav, he put a Vav in front of it. Reuven v'Shimon ve'Achai. Reuven, Shimon, and Achai. Now he's getting 3 portions. Shabye ve'Achai. Asal Kami Dabai, they come to buy Amalei. My time Adachik Le'amal Lahai Vav Kulehai. Why is it so tight, that Vav that's so squeezed in there? Doesn't look like there's enough room for that. Kafte Vaida, they forced the fellow and he admitted that he added Vav. Who started that? Rava Baravacha Barada. There was a document that Rava and Ravacha Barada signed on it. Asal Kami de Rava, they come to Rava Amalei. He says, "Dein Chasim Asiyada Didi." Yes, that's correct. This is my signature. But I never signed together with Ravacha Barada. Witnesses have to sign together. I never signed together with him. Kafte Ve'eda, they forced the person to admit he had forged both signatures.
Oh, these are Jewish guys, right?
Yeah. Amalei said, "Bishlem Didi Zaifis." Okay, you forged my signature. Fine. El Ravacha Barada, the Rasis Yade Hechavdas. How did you forge Ravacha Barada's signature? His hand shakes. How did he get a signature for that? He says, "Oh, Amar Anchi Yade Amitra." I stood on the bridge. There was a shaky bridge.
Oh, wow.
And I signed over there. Va'amrila, some say, "Come azarnuka," because of I sat on a water barrel, which was like floating or something or shaking, and that's how I was able to sign like that. Follow? Okay, let's leave it over here.
So many Ganovim.
Yeah, you know those pads
You
where you
always
sign
think
your
everyone
name,
was righteous.
where it doesn't really
Yeah,
work.
they're
and your
tricky,
signature
really.
looks different.
Nothing new under the sun.
Wait, they
Yeah.
said Israel is like 4 Zuzim.
Oh, and Astira would be 4 zuz, which means
Yeah,
that's